There have been negative comments, there always are, of people saying things like, it was cruel for you to even have this child. He'll have no quality of life and stuff like that. And that's just simply not true. Because all of our genetics testing came back normal, they think that this was just a complete fluke. We found out about his limb deficiency at our 20-week anatomy scan. Up until that point, it had been a totally normal pregnancy. And even after that point, they still kind of treated it like a normal pregnancy because he doesn't have any other, he doesn't have a syndrome or a disease, I guess, that would go along with the limb deficiency. So he's otherwise completely healthy. We got all the genetic testing. My husband and I got genetically tested and everything came back negative. So it was just random. There were no amniotic bands or anything like that. It was just completely a random thing. He's got his full humerus in both arms and his full femurs in both arms, but he doesn't have anything below those. So basically anything below the elbows and knees. They didn't give me specific odds, but it's extremely rare for a child, obviously, to be born with one limb difference. So for him to be born with 4 was basically, unheard of. They don't even have a name for what he has. If he was missing his entire limbs up to having no bones in his arms or legs at all, they have a name for that. Or if he was just missing one up to, they have a name for that, but they don't have a name for missing all 4, but only half of all 4. Well, I hope that it doesn't affect him other than, him being able to show everybody that he can do anything. He will get prosthetics. So we actually are in that process right now for lower limb prosthetics. As far as upper limb prosthetics, he probably won't have daily upper limb prosthetics. He'll probably just have adaptive stuff. So if he wants to play sports, he could get a baseball mitt prosthetic or, a prosthetic that would help him hold a golf club. Hopefully it won't limit him. Tyler and I are prepared for whatever is thrown at him. We'll face it head on. We were really confused at first for a long time because obviously we had never heard of a child like that. We had never seen a child like that. We didn't know anybody in our lives like that. And we were just really confused about what anyone would think. How's he going to do anything? How's he going to, hold a pencil? How's he going to feed himself? How's he going to walk? How's he going to do all of these things? The first couple of weeks were really hard and confusing, especially because, there were a lot of other people in our lives that were having babies. And so being a pregnant mom, I was why do they all get to have these perfectly healthy babies? And my baby's going to be different and I have to deal with that. I feel like kids tend to make fun of things that they don't understand or they're not familiar with. And so we've talked to several people about that. And a lot of people have just said if he does go to school on his first day and he has these, prosthetic legs or whatever, first thing, have a show and tell and just show them and say, hey, this is Bryson. These are his robot legs. And that's just how he functions. Just like you have regular legs, Bryson has robot legs. We're gonna raise him to know that he is perfect and he is fearfully and wonderfully made, and that other people's opinions are not the end all be all of who we are. It definitely is difficult to see, especially comments that say that we've gotten comments that have said, abortion is mercy and this is why I'm pro-choice or this is why I'll never have kids. So we do plan to have more children. Obviously Bryson's our only one right now. Because all of our genetics testing came back normal, they think that this was just a complete fluke. It was just something that when his DNA created itself, one of his genes just happened to mutate and create whatever caused this. The geneticists and everybody that we spoke to said that there's next to no chance of it happening again. Obviously, the chances are never going to be 0 because the chances of it happening once are not 0.